Protesters hit the streets after Myanmar's ruling military executed 4 democracy activists accused of aiding terror acts. Nightlife hotspot CLARKE to have day and night offerings next year after it completes a year-long revamp. And Team Singapore athletes finally set off for the Asean Para Games in Indonesia after several postponements in the past 5 years. Welcome to The Big Story. I'm Haryanto Diman. Subscribe to the Straits Times channel so you will not miss an episode. ASEAN denounces the execution of 4 Myanmar activists by the junta, with the bloc's chair, Cambodia, releasing a statement saying ASEAN is, quote, strongly disappointed. The execution of the 4 men accused by Myanmar's ruling military of aiding terror acts is the country's first executions in decades, and that has sparked widespread condemnation. Protesters taking to Yangon streets with a banner reading "We will never be frightened" and calling out the names of the executed activists. The ASEAN statement also says the implementation of the death sentences just a week before the 55th ASEAN ministerial meeting is highly reprehensible and that it has presented a gross lack of will to support the bloc's peace efforts in Myanmar. Back home, CLARKE is known more for its nightlife, but next year it will have day and night offerings after a year-long revamp, which will begin in the 3rd quarter of 2022. And among the new tenants, music store Swee Lee as well as a grocer with in-store dining. Plus, existing key tenants, Zook Group and One Group, will expand their offerings to attract crowds in the day. The $62 million revamp will also include upgrading cooling systems and restoring CLARKE's conservation buildings. Meanwhile, Singapore's first artificial ocean basin officially opens at the National University of Singapore, and it's about the size of 5 buses parked end-to-end and 12 meters deep. The giant pool can generate waves and undercurrents, which allows the maritime industry to test out new technologies in close to real-world conditions. In the realm of marine and offshore engineering, to sea transport, and even the prediction of storm surges and coastal protection. Singapore's manufacturing output increased last month, but at a much slower pace by a marginal 2.2% on a year-on-year basis, owed to shrinking semiconductor production. This rise is below the 5.4% increase projected by economists and a sharp slowdown from the 10.4% expansion locked in May. The 4-month psychiatric detention for Shinzo Abe's alleged shooter has started after he was transferred from the Nara Nishi police station to the Osaka detention house. Prosecutors believe his mental condition at the time of the crime is a factor, and whether he can be held criminally responsible needs to be examined. The original detention period was scheduled to end on July 29th, but this has been temporarily suspended while he undergoes a psychiatric analysis. And rounding up the show with a send-off for 37 Team Singapore athletes who leave for the ASEAN Para Games in Indonesia, finally after several postponements over the past 5 years. Here's sports journalist Laura Chia on Singapore's medal hopes in the absence of our strongest swimmers Yip Pin Siew and Toh Wei Sung.
For sure, the absence of Pin Siew and Wei Sung might dent our medal chances. But in the pool itself, we have some old and new faces who could bring silverware for us. Medalists from the last APG in 2017 include Wong Zhiwei and Danielle Moy, while Sophie Soon will be present as well. Sophie has made a good showing in major competitions recently, finishing 4th at the Paralympics in Tokyo last year. Last month, she won a silver medal at the World Championships in the SB12 100-meter breaststroke in an Asian record time. She did say that she wasn't able to train the past week because she was down with the flu and had to manage some injuries, but if she's able to maintain and execute her techniques well, she should be able to perform well. Her brother Colin won 4 golds at the Asian Youth Para Games in December, and this will be his first APG, but we shouldn't count him out as well. Outside the pool, archer Noor Shahida Alim and table tennis player Aaron Yeo are defending gold medals. Shahida, of course, made headlines in 2019 when she became world champion and later world #1 in her event. She didn't exactly perform to her fullest potential in Tokyo or at this year's World Championships, but she could find her form again in Indonesia. We also have a few athletes from other sports like athletics who stand a chance to win a medal as well. For example, Paralympian Deroy Nordin, who won 2 silvers in 2017 in the shot put and javelin events. But that being said, it is a very small contingent this time with only 37 athletes. It's also the first time that the APG is being held since 2017 because of postponements and cancellations due to COVID, and a lot has changed since then. The athletes themselves don't know how their competitors in the region have been doing. But medals aside, they're just glad to be competing again, and I hope that they stay safe and enjoy the experience.
Those are our top stories today. Now don't forget to subscribe to us by clicking the red button below. I'm Haryanto Diman. See you tomorrow for more stories on The Big Story.